All together. Oh, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Dharubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary Srila Prabhupada, 18th chapter, the perfection of renunciation, and today's verses are 45 and 46, correct? Yes? Okay. So we won't do word for word, I'll chant one line and then you just follow. You'll understand. Please repeat. Sva-karma-nirataḥ saṁsiddhiṁ labhate naraḥ sva-karma-nirataḥ siddhiṁ yathā vindati chṛṇu yathā pravṛttir bhūtānāṁ yena sarvam idam tatam sva-karmaṇā tam abhyarcya siddhiṁ vindati mānavaḥ sva-karma-nirataḥ abhirataḥ saṁsiddhiṁ labhate naraḥ sva-karma-nirataḥ siddhiṁ yathā vindati śṛṇu yathā pravṛttir bhūtānāṁ yena sarvam idam tatam sva-karmaṇā tam abhyarcya siddhiṁ vindati mānavaḥ. Okay, go ahead. Okay. So, well, we'll just go straight to the English to save time. So, translation number 45. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now, please hear from me how this can be done. Please repeat. By following his qualities of work. By following his qualities of work. Every man can become perfect. Every man can become perfect. Now, please hear from me how this can be done. Number 46. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. Please repeat. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, A man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So, purport Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the 15th chapter, all living beings are fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. This is confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi asya yathā. The Supreme Lord is therefore the beginning of life of every living entity. And as stated in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord, by his two energies, his external energy and his internal energy, is all-pervading. Therefore one should worship the Supreme Lord with his energies. Generally, the Vaishnava devotees worship the Supreme Lord with his internal energy. His external energy is a perverted reflection of the internal energy. The external energy is a background, but the Supreme Lord, by the expansion of his plenary portion as Paramatma, is situated everywhere. He is the supersoul of all demigods, all human beings, all animals, everywhere. One should therefore know that as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one has his duty to render service unto the Supreme. Everyone should be engaged in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness. That is recommended in this verse. Everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, and by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. If one thinks always in this way, in full Krishna consciousness, then by the grace of the Lord he becomes fully aware of everything. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Gita 12:7, Tesham aham samuddhata. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. In whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. Can you close this window? So, wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mukam karochi vachalam pangam laite girim yad kripatamaham vande Shri Gurundinatarinam. Sva-karma-nirataḥ abhirataḥ saṁsiddhiṁ labhate naraḥ. Sva-karma-nirataḥ siddhiṁ yathā vindati chṛṇu. Yathā pravṛttir bhūtānāṁ yena sarvam idam tatam. Sva-karmaṇā tam abhyarcya siddhiṁ vindati mānavaḥ. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. Yes, so this is what we've talked about, that Arjuna is being encouraged to perform his duty, but as an offering to the Supreme. Generally in the material world, people have what's called here in the Sanskrit, sva-karma. They have an assumed nature, swabhav, which gives them a propensity to a certain kind of work. So whatever that propensity is, the Supreme Lord here is advising that you should engage in that, Arjuna, and through Arjuna, everyone. We should all engage in our particular propensity, but not for a karmic fruit, some result, but as an offering to the Supreme. And if somebody does that, you see that there's a very important sentence. The Lord says, the Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. If you perform all your work as an offering to the Supreme, then you become under the shelter of the Supreme. So swa-karma means that, assumed work. We have swabhav because we've interacted with the material nature. So we don't have swarup. Swarup means my own form, my own personality, intrinsic to the soul. It may be in one of the rasas. There's the Madhurya ras, there's Vatsalya ras, there's Sakya, there's Dasya bhav. So we all have an intrinsic relationship with Krishna. Just like within a seed, there's an intrinsic form, the tree, the plant. One tree will become an oak tree, another tree will become a peepal tree, another become a banyan tree. So every soul has a relationship inbuilt. Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, so we are also Satchidananda Vigraha. As Prabhupada points out, we are part and parcels. We have our origin in Krishna. Krishna is personal, so the soul is personal by nature also. But because we're engaged in the material energy, that relationship is swarup. And so that is perfection, swarup siddhi, to develop that relationship, become established in that relationship. That is the goal. And then, as we discussed a few classes ago, above that is vastu siddhi. Vastu siddhi means when the material mind and body are completely washed off and one is completely situated in his spiritual form. That is vastu siddhi. There's no connection with the material body. But they explained that you can attain swarup siddhi, that is nishtha, become fixed in that by sadhana bhakti. But it also stated in Shastra that the higher realms of prem, when the spiritual body is fully developed, then it lives on a platform, it interacts with Krishna on this ecstatic platform, and this spiritual platform cannot be contained within the material body. You understand? It is too powerful. So the higher reaches, even as long as we have the material mind and the material body, though they may be spiritualized by devotional service, the higher realms cannot be experienced. So that is experienced in vastu siddhi, when there's no material restriction at all. So Krishna says, I deliver that devotee. And there's also other verses, right? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam didami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. So Krishna gives the intelligence. He gives shelter to his devotees, not just the Paramahamsas or those that are in Golok, but he gives shelter all souls. Because he is the Supreme Father, as he says here, by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings. So Krishna is aham bija pitaha. I am the seed-giving Father. Everybody is an angsa of Krishna. So Krishna is well disposed. He doesn't want us to stay in the material world, cycle of birth, death, old age, birth. He wants us to go to the spiritual platform. But didami buddhi yogam tam. He gives the intelligence, but we must act upon that intelligence. That is tapasya. That we must make the right choices. And of course we may make a mistake in our period of sadhana. We may not fully do everything correctly, but we just keep trying, and Krishna will always give the correct instruction. Just like nowadays, I don't know if they have in India, but they have these navigation things in motor cars, right? You put in the motor car, I want to go to Krishnanagar in Mathura, and it'll go down it'll track where you are by satellite, so they say. And then it'll say, turn left. And then you go down there and you say, oh, turn right, second right. And then you'll find Krishna Nagar, right? But say you don't turn left. Then the machine doesn't stop working. It says, okay, turn second right, then turn second left. It gives new instructions. You missed one instruction, but the tracking machine, the map reader, the map finder, I don't know what the name is, destination finder, it'll still give you instructions even if you don't follow the instructions properly at one point. So that is good to understand the supersoul in that way. In the period of sadhana we may have trouble, but still Krishna will help us even from the mistaken position. So that is to be remembered, and that is the special quality of bhakti, that the bhakta relies on Krishna, just like the child relies upon the father. So Krishna is the source of all beings. And having said that, he says, you see that yathā pravṛttir bhūtānāṁ yena sarvam idam tatam. He says that many places. And he is all-pervading, right? So Krishna is the source, but he's also situated everywhere. It's not that he's just the source, like a mundane father. We may have a father in this world, but he's not all-pervading. He may be the source in one sense of the children, but he's not following the children, he's not with the children. But Krishna, he is all-pervading by his energy and by Paramatma. This material energy is all-pervading, this spiritual energy is all-pervading, and Krishna is present everywhere. Bhagavatam explains there's three aspects: Bhagavan, the Supreme Person, then there's Paramatma, and there is Brahman. So everything is resting upon Krishna. Krishna is the source, but everything is resting upon his expansion in the material world, as Prabhupada mentions there, as Paramatma, Supreme Soul. He is upadrishta and anumanta. Upadrishta means upadrishta, seeing from above. He is overseeing, he sees everything. And anumanta, he permits the living entities' desires. So, from this position of this vision that Krishna has, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam, he is seeing everything. So he is permitting the activities, he's supporting the activities, everything is resting upon him. But those persons who take to this process of bhakti, he takes special care of them. Samaham sarva bhūteshu nadveshana. I'm equal to everyone. I don't dislike anyone, or I don't hate, I don't give special favor to someone. But somebody who renders service to me, I am a friend to him and he is a friend to me. This is what Krishna says. So this is a very important point in bhakti. And the yogis, they get the mercy of Krishna. Even those that are worshipping on the Brahman, they also get the mercy of Krishna. But the devotee who's rendering service to Krishna, he gets a special, because that's the most intimate. Yoginam api sarvesham. It is the highest form of yoga. So the essence of bhakti is that, to rely on Krishna's mercy. Right? But dadami buddhi yogam tam, he gives intelligence, but we must act upon that inspiration that we get from Guru, from Super Soul, from Krishna within the heart. We should act upon that. So it is not that Krishna, okay, he just grabs somebody and puts him in the spiritual world. No, you have to do your sadhana. You have to, if you like, prove yourself. Just like if you want to play a musical instrument, you have to practice. You can't just buy a guitar, a music book, and then think automatically. No, you have to practice constantly, and then you have to apply yourself, and then your talent develops and you can play guitar. And then you can take pride. At the beginning of buying a guitar, you may think, oh, I can't play what I want. I wish I could play. But because you practice, you can take pride in your achievement, right? If you just bought a guitar and then you could automatically play guitar, then it would be very cheap, right? Yeah. But that's not how life is, right? Lord Brahma, he heard the word tapasya. So this point is very central. And so we are relying on Krishna, but we're also entering into relationship with Krishna. And that's what that's what sadhana bhakti is. It's building our relationship with Krishna by following the instructions of Veda, Acharya, and bona fide Guru. We develop. And then we become Krishna conscious. At the beginning we may not understand Krishna in the heart or perceive Krishna, but as we progress in sadhana we get inspiration, spurti, that is the mercy of Krishna. So at the same time we're developing spiritually, doing sadhana, as Krishna says, you have to maintain the body through work. So Krishna is explaining now, that's your sva-karma. So it is assumed you have a material body, and your material body, some are interested in intellectual work, teaching, some might want to join government or join the army, some might want to do business, some might be just happy just to get employment and work in that way. And that is the result of one's karma, previous activities. When you look at somebody, you can see that's the result of their previous activities. So Krishna is saying that whatever your position is, whatever your nature is, act accordingly. Right? And Arjuna, he was making a mistake because he wasn't acting in accordance with his nature. So that is sva-karma. The work that you have a tendency, karma means work, swa means own, just like we have own swarup, swarup. So whatever your work is, then you do that as an offering to the Supreme. So this is the science of activity. And it is that which is lost. Remember in the 4th chapter, evam parampara praptam imam, that I taught this to the sun god and he taught it to Ishvaku, but now it seems this science of the Supreme, working as an offering to the Supreme, this is lost. It seems to be lost. So now, Arjuna, I'm re-establishing this idea. Because this is the difference between material life, spiritual life. We all have to do some work, as we say. Some people might be engineers, some people might be this, some people might be that. We all have to work. But the science of bhakti is to do your work as an offering to Krishna. Madhyaji. Manmana bhava madbhakto. Madhyaji, as an offering to Krishna. So that awakens the swarup. That awakens the swarup. So this is very important. And to understand that Krishna is present everywhere, that is the assurance of the bhakta. Because the bhakta doesn't need the roar of the crowd. Meaning, he doesn't need people to tell him, you're a great man, you're a great man. He knows in his heart. Krishna is seeing my work. If I give in charity, I give some biscuits to a dog, I don't need people to say, oh, he's a great man. I know that Krishna is pleased. There's a Brijbasi dog, and I bought some biscuits or toast. And He gave the dog some toast. So I know Krishna is pleased. The dog is pleased, Krishna is pleased. I don't need an advertisement on Facebook. So the devotee knows that Krishna is with me. He's all-pervading. He's the source. Everything is within Krishna. So he's very assured in that. He doesn't need external justification or ratification. So sva-karma should be performed in that way. And you can see, as we discussed last week, then you have a very wonderful society. Because if you are doing your work as an offering to the Supreme, then everyone will do their work nicely, right? If I'm a doctor and I'm fixing the patient, giving them treatment, so I do it nicely as an offering to the Supreme, right? Then I'll do it nicely. If I'm sweeping the street, then if I'm doing it for the all-pervading Supreme Lord as an offering, then I'll sweep the street nicely, right? And if I'm a businessman, of course I have to make some profit. Keshi go raksha vanijam. Vanijam means trading. But I'll do my business in an honest way, you see. I'll do it nicely. I won't cheat and lie. I'll do good. And if I'm in the army or the navy or whatever, in the martial or government, because I know Krishna is all-pervading and I'm supposed to act for him with this idea that he's re-establishing with Arjuna, then I'll do things honestly. But you can contrast that understanding with the atheistic idea or the Mayavadi idea. Right? The Mayavadi says, this world is illusion. Jagat mithya. And Jagat Brahma Satyam. So this world is illusion. So therefore it doesn't really make any difference if I'm a good doctor or a good teacher or a government minister or a good street sweeper. Oh, chalega, everything is okay. Bhagwan sab theek karenge. I become lazy. I don't apply myself. Because just like if I'm cooking for Krishna and I make a clean plate. I make nice clean water and I offer it, I make it nice. But if I think it's all illusion, then why should I be honest? Why should I? Honesty is the same as dishonesty. It's all illusion. So if this Mayavadi idea and this atheistic idea, atheism also tends to make people greedy and undisciplined. Oh, I'm going to die, there's no soul, so let me do any damn thing. We see now in the world, right? They're super rich, have billions and trillions of dollars, and the people on the street, they can't get their teeth fixed, sleeping on the road. So it doesn't matter because it's all illusion or there's no life after death. So like this. So you can see how this would make a disturbed society. And this is what we see in Kali Yuga, isn't it? But of course there's still good people here and there trying their best. But the inspiration will come when you think, I'm working for Krishna. I'm working for Krishna. And you will get not only inspiration, but you'll get realization of Krishna. You'll realize Krishna in the heart. So this is the basis for a very good society. Arjuna was falsely renouncing his work at the beginning. He was saying, oh, I don't want to, this is illusion, Krishna. Or this is uncomfortable, Krishna, fighting this battle. I don't want to do it. So that Mayavadi idea will give that. Oh, we should just renounce society. But Vaishnavas don't think like that. Yes, sometimes, yes, and that is there. Dhruva Maharaj, he went to the forest, right? Narada Muni, he was initiated by the Bhaktivedantas and he sat down and He was in a renounce mode. Then there's Maharaj Bharat, right, in Bhagavatam. He also gave up the kingdom and went to the forest. And then, beginning of Bhagavatam, Yudhisthira Maharaj, he also gave up his work. He saw Kali Yuga coming. But that was to increase their bhakti. Now I've done my sva-karma from my svabhav. Now I've done the work that I'm inclined towards because of my material conditioning. Now I've given that up. Now I've done that. But now I want to go further. Right? I want to gain more direct association with Krishna. Just like Maharaj Bharat in the Bhagavatam, it's explained, he was doing his bhajan. You've seen the paintings in the bhajan. He was in the forest in his little ashram. He was doing puja every day, meditation, probably chanting, everything. And then he was attaining bhava. So bhava is the liberated platform. That is uttamadhikari. That is above sadhana. Sadhana progresses, sadhana bhakti progresses up to nishta. Anathanirviti, unwanted things fade away. And then one becomes nishta. That means one becomes fixed. In what way? It becomes fixed in the swarup. Because it becomes liberated from his material conditioning, and it becomes fixed in the swarup. And then after nishta, then becomes, yes, that's right, ruchi, that's taste. Aparada, guchi, sudanama, ruchi, right? Then you get good taste. And then you become attached to Krishna, and then you get bhava. So at the stage of bhava bhakti, which is just below prem bhakti, that is when one gets direct relationship or direct realization of his relationship with Krishna. He realizes Krishna, and then concurrently he realizes his relationship with Krishna. So that is uttamadhikari platform. So to attain that, yes, one may, at the right stage, in the right circumstances, under the guidance of Guru, one may give up sva-karma. He becomes less interested in the material world now. Oh, I've had my material work, I've had my family, all the children. This is the idea of vanaprast. So now I'm going to travel to the holy places, I'm going to listen to the sadhus, and then I'm going to increase my bhajan. I'll try and attain bhava, and I'll attain the Supreme Lord. So this is the thing. But the point is, you can't jump to that. You can't jump to that. You have to work to that through sadhana. Sadhana, vaidhi, raganuga sadhana, then bhava bhakti, then prem bhakti. You have to work towards that. So yes, the Vaishnava don't say, give up this world. Don't give up this, don't. We say at the right stage. So that is the importance of Shiksha Guru, the teacher who can guide you. So, this is the progress of bhakti. This is what is meant, and Krishna is building up to that. Sarvadharma parijajya. Give up your dharma, your swadharma, that comes from your swabhav, that defines your sva-karma, your tendency to work. Give that up, Arjuna, as your means of discipline, and just surrender unto me. Just surrender. But that means surrender in knowledge of your relationship, directly understood. And so that's there, like we said, Narada Muni, he took instruction from the Bhakti Vedantas on meditation on the form of Vishnu, And he would do that, and then one evening, it's there in the Bhagavatam, Vishnu appeared to him. It was not just his manasik deva, but Vishnu appeared and spoke. So he was inspired in his thing. So that will come. Krishna takes shelter. Krishna guides the devotee in this way. And so the devotee understands, yes, the Supreme Lord is the source. Supreme Lord is all-pervading. I have my duties, let me perform them. But internally also I have to be developing awakening my swarup. Very important. If we just follow external rules and regulations, go to Mangalarti, chanting 16 rounds, doing some service, that's good. But that is a means to awaken the relationship within. Clear? Yeah. So this is very important. This very important point. That yes, Arjuna, do your work now as a Kshatriya, but within. And Krishna is instructing us. So let's look at this sloka that Prabhupada mentions in the purport. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 12:7, Tesham aham samuddhata. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. So 12:7. Yes, it's combined here with verse 6. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me. So that has to be understood. Giving up all their activities unto me. That means they're performing their activities not unto themselves, but unto Krishna. You see? They're developing this devotional mentality. And being devoted to me without deviation, Tesham sadata yuktanam, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Right? I am, like Prabhupada said in the purport, the Supreme Lord takes charge. So I am the swift deliverer. So he delivered Dhruva Maharaj, he delivered Narada Muni, he delivered Bharat Maharaj, Chad Bharat, great Leela, he delivered Ajamil. The Bhagavatam is full of all this relationships with devotees. But then the 10th canto comes, and then that's a full revelation of, or it's not full revelation, it's like a snapshot, a sample of the spiritual world. The Ras Leela, the cowherd boys, the river Jamuna, Nanda Yashoda, everything is there in the Bhagavatam. But before that, Krishna is assuring us that Vedavyasa is showing us, yes, this is all about relationship with the Supreme Lord. But the whole point is that Krishna is the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Krishna is the guide. Krishna is the sustainer. Krishna is the inspiration. Krishna Muksha Yashyami, he's the Masuchaha, he's the protector. He's the overseer. He's the permitter. He's the guide, indwelling witness. So Krishna is all these things, and they all are for the benefit of his devotees. Right? Just like that Bhagavatam verse, Hridayam Mayam Tvaham, that saints have nothing but me in the... Oh, that's right. Sadhunam Hridayam Tvaham. The saints are my heart. The sadhus are my heart. And the sadhu has nothing but me in my heart, in his heart. I know nobody but him, and he knows nobody but me. So that is the sadhu. They are the heart of Krishna, and they only have Krishna in their heart. So the starting point is sva-karma. Do everything as the offering to Krishna, but within that format to develop understanding of Krishna's Leela. Like we often quote that verse in the Ishopanishad, that you should understand the material energy, but you should also understand the Leela of Krishna. You should understand how the material energy works. That will give you liberation, because you'll realize, oh, this is a place of birth, death, and this is a temporary place. This is not satisfactory. The alternative is eternal life in a spiritual body, eternal ecstasy, eternal bliss, eternal knowledge. And that's our birthright. And Krishna is ready to give that. So we should never think, oh, Krishna is just for the intelligent class, or this is the Brahminical class, or the Kshatriya class, or the Vaishya class, or the Sudra class. No, it's for the devotee. Krishna is for the devotee. And he oversees the devotees and pulls them out of the material world. And there's even a quote in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that sometimes Krishna, he sees a devotee and he says, this devotee, he can't do anything properly. So Krishna just grabs that devotee and just takes him to the spiritual world. So that's the bottom line, right? We try our sadhana and everything, but Krishna, he thinks, oh, if I don't help him directly, he'll never come back. But Krishna has the right to do that because the devotee surrenders, you see. Oh, Krishna, what is that verse, Lord Chaitanya? Ainanda tunuja kinkaram patitamam vishabhevam bro kripaya tava pankaja stuti doli sadrisim vichinta. Oh, son of Nanda Maharaj, I've fallen into the Maya. Now you please pick me up and place me as an atom of dust at your lotus feet. So Krishna, he will do that. He's doing that. He gives us intelligence to follow everything nicely. But then finally, the final point is he just picks us up and say, come enjoy the Leela. Have eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So this is coming now the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So the perfection of renunciation is bhakti, devotion, you see. People are attached in the material world. What does renunciation mean? To give up attachment to the material energy and become attached to Krishna. Right? And sadhana bhakti gives us the vision of Krishna. So when we have the vision of Krishna, the realization of Krishna, then it's very easy to give up the Maya Shakti. Because the intelligence becomes satisfied, the mind becomes satisfied, the body becomes healthy, so on and so forth. So this is what Krishna is teaching Arjuna, and through Arjuna he's teaching the whole universe. This is the science of work. Do all your offerings, your activities for me, do them expertly, and at the same time, like we quoted that verse last week, Stane shruti katan tanuva manobir, right? This is Lord Brahma's verse in the Bhagavatam, that stay in your particular position, work for Krishna, but also hear. Stane shruti katan. So that's very important. Krishna swadharma pagate dhamma jnana dibisaha kalo nasta drisham esha paranaka drunodita. So Krishna's gone. Oh, where is he? Where is Dharma? Where's knowledge now? It's in the Bhagavatam. So, we'll finish on that point. Any questions?
Sometimes means we get the feeling that devotees who are staying in the temple are very powerful and like that, whereas devotees staying outside or who are also doing bhakti. But this verse says that anyone with whatever occupation, work is, if he worships the Supreme Lord, a farmer, a Shudra, he can attain the Supreme Lord. But temple looks to be completely divine. Outside looks like so much maya.
Yes, that's a good question. Well, it is recommended as satsangi chagi a vaishnavacha. You should give up non-devotional association. But that doesn't mean to say you don't sit next to a materialist on the bus. You don't walk past a materialist in the street. What it means is that you don't become affected by material desire. You see, the materialist, he will induce you to material life. So therefore sadhana is important, and your point is correct. Therefore we have a temple. Temple means ashram. Ashram means shelter. So therefore it is good if devotees live, and this is why Prabhupada created ISKCON. Devotees live in association, because then they encourage one another. And therefore Prabhupada said things like that. Whatever happens, don't leave ISKCON. But that doesn't mean to say you have to live in the brahmachari ashram. You can live outside and come. Also, one of the 5 items, Mathura Vasya, 64 items, Rupa Goswami says, but one of the most, he gives 5 that are most potent. One is Mathura Vasya. For example, if you live in Vrindavan, everywhere you go, people say Radhe Radhe, right? Even the rickshaw, when he's overcharging you, he says Radhe Radhe. So, even the shopwallah, he's charging you double, but he's saying Radhe Radhe. So yes, we should strive for good association. But ultimately, what does Krishna say here, actually? He says, sarvam idam tatam. Right, in the verse, that verse, what does he say? Sarvam idam tatam. That I am all-pervading. So Krishna is everywhere. Yes, outside the temple there may be more maya, but we have to see Krishna instead of maya. But of course, in the neophyte condition we become affected. But just like Srila Prabhupada, of course, he went to America by himself, more or less. Well, yes, by himself, with a box of books, and he wandered here and there. He stayed with friends in Boston, but he created devotees. He was so powerful. So, unless we are on that high platform, we should definitely associate with devotees. Because that's also there in the chapter Shloki of Gita, right? Maksita matgata prana bodhayas. Yes, that devotees, they associate and they discuss Krishna, tusyantita romantica, and they get satisfaction and pleasure from sharing realization of Krishna. So that's very important. But living so-called outside, then you have to create your own association. There's one lecture in 1977, I think it was at Mayapur Festival. Prabhupada says, it's not necessary for you to, he was addressing all us, and he was saying, it's not necessary for you to do what I have done, travel all over the world, take all this trouble. You can just become guru of the block. You understand? You just become local guru of the street. Huh? You understand? So, also Lord Chaitanya says, maksita matgata. What's that? Yarideka. Yeah, wherever you go. So, yes, outside the temple may be so-called Maya, but we have to convert that to Krishna consciousness. You understand my point? Because ultimately, whether we see Maya or Krishna, that is our mind, our consciousness. That responsibility, that ability rests with us. You understand? That is, so if we study regularly and we chant regularly, then we develop what's called, Bhaktivinoda calls it bhajan bhal, strength of bhajan. So even though we may be living outside the ashram, we have strength and we spread Krishna consciousness. But also the thing is, I've lived many years in temples here and there, earlier. There can be a lot of Maya in the temple also. Right? There can be a lot of politics in the temple. Oh, I don't like him. Oh, he's Bengali and I'm from Orissa. We've got Jagannath. So there can be a lot of Maya in the temples too. You know, it's not that you walk into the temple and everyone is Sudha Bhakta. No, there can be a lot of politics. There can even be somebody stealing money. There can be people stealing money outside. There can be, so there can be. So ultimately, Prabhupada said we have to fly our own aeroplane, whether we're living in the ashram or we're living outside. It might be better to live outside peacefully with 2 or 3 Krishna conscious friends, right, than to live in the temple with 400 angry brahmacharis, short-tempered, because there's 8 people in one room. so right? I'm fed up of queuing up. Why does the temple president get served before me? I'm just as hungry as him. So, it's not that living in the temple is Shangri-La, you know, Shangri-La, utopia or something. It can be a lot of trouble and politics in the temple. So ultimately, we have to fly our own aeroplane by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we should always remember, like we discussed in the class, you know, just like that route master. If we may have problem, the route master still gives direction towards the destination. Even though you might miss the direct route, he's going to give that. So Krishna is there. So once we have that in the background, in our mind, but dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna gives intelligence, but we have to follow that. But if Krishna doesn't expect, just like Krishna is the Father, he doesn't expect us to become perfect overnight. He's patient. And then when you become, just like I'm saying, say you become a master of harmonium or sitar or something, you can take pride in your achievement. So you should think, yes, I'm going to become a good devotee and nobody can stop me because I'm in charge of my consciousness. Huh? Right? I'm in charge. I'm going to determine my consciousness. Right? So, with that determination, and that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. What does he say? Arjuna, he says, armed with knowledge, what does he say?
Stand and fight.
Stand and fight. Right? So Krishna gives all knowledge, but then he says, now you be determined, Arjuna. Right? Huh? Yes, you have to, overcome your conditioning, right? By taking shelter of Krishna. And then you can be proud. Oh, I mean, in the real sense. Not proud in the sense, puffed up. But we self-esteem. You can think, I'm learning, I'm chanting nicely, all Kartik, I was chanting 64 rounds. So then you can feel some fulfillment. You see the point? So we have everything. We have the great Acharya's commentaries, we have Bhaktivinoda's books, we have everything, but we have to have the desire. We have the Maha Mantra, we have the holy Dham, we have the deities, we have Panchagoda, president. So what problem do we have?
He won't be forever, but he won't be forever, but
so anyway, we'll not talk about that. But the point is there. Huh? Any other question, points? Okay then, we'll finish at this point. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita Sadhu Sangha Ke.